What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host, Vernon. This is Veteran Memorial Park Pond. Let's fish that. Alright, ladies and gents, made my way back out to Boulder City. We're fishing the Veteran Memorial Park Pond. Now, regular viewers will know that this is a spot where I love going for some trout fishing, but it is summer and I want to try something different. This is going to be another one of my Viva Las Vegas videos. And that just means that this is probably the last time that I'll be fishing at this pond. And rather than going for some trout, I'm rather going to change things up and try and find some decent catfish. But that's the plan for today. About a week ago, they stocked this pond with some catfish, and I'm going to go out there and see if I can get a nice proper catfish. Alright, so right now is a pretty magical time here at Boulder. The reason why I'm saying that is on my way here, I can see some bluegill sitting on beds, and I can see some trout still splashing around. So there is still trout around. Look at all the trout sitting in a row here in the fresh, colder water. But they've also stocked some channel catfish. Now today we're going to try and target the catfish specifically, so I want to show you the setups that I'm going to be using. Why am I showing you the two setups? That is because these setups are different from each other. They're the exact same Catalina rig, but there are small differences, and it's very important to always try out different things to find the right thing that's working for you. For instance, the two hooks I have are both circle hooks, but the one, a little lighter one and a darker one. The darker one has a lot wider gap. It's a big gap, easy for fish to swallow it, whereas the other one has a bit of a smaller, tighter gap. To make up for that fact, if you look at them from the side profile, you'll see that the one is bent outwards. It's an offset hook just to make it easier to try and catch the fish. Now, the second difference I want to point out is the different knots that I'm using on these hooks. Now, the one is a normal clench knot, fisherman's knot, the one I always use, and this one, I think it's called a snell knot, not quite sure, but it's two different knots. Now, the one on this side, the darker one, people say that this is a better knot for using big fish. It's more sturdy, that's why I have different knots, so I want to test that out. And you'll also notice that I have different line. On the lighter one, I have 12-pound fluorocarbon line. It's clear line that I use in most of these clear fisheries. But this other one, that is thick red nylon line, it's supposed to be a lot stronger, and it's red because when it comes to the dispersal of light in the water, when light hits the water, it scatters, and the red wavelength is the first one to get absorbed. That's why the water looks blue, because all the other colors get absorbed quicker. So the general idea being that if you go down to 6 feet, this red line would become invisible. That's why this one is red. We'll see whether that actually works or whether that spooks off some of the fish. The last little change, you see that there's quite a difference in the length of the two leaders. This one is rather short, and this one is almost twice the length. The general idea being I want to have little egg weights with these, and the longer one is just to get the baits a bit further away from that lead weight, so maybe it doesn't spook the fish that easily. And when it comes to the baits, I have two packets. One's going to be on the lighter setup, the other one's going to be on the darker setup. And what I have here is chicken breast, all cut up. One is flavored with cherry Kool-Aid, that's the little red one. The other one, the whiter one, that is garlic, and it's quite potent, quite a strong smell. Now for catfish, you can use all sorts of baits. I have chicken here, I have chicken breast, but you can also use chicken livers, you can use jerky, you can use night crawlers, even hot dogs, even little fish heads and stuff. Any source of protein. These fish need to feed, so they're looking for protein. Now when it comes to the stock catfish, they'll go for pretty much any sorts of protein. That's why I'm using the chicken breasts. But when it comes to natural occurring fish, maybe go for some bait fish or something that they're used to seeing, whereas these stocked fish, they'll be willing to go for anything. They're not afraid of eating anything. That's why we're going to throw this out there. Let's see if we get on some fish. Alright, so we got both our rods out there. This one's baited with the cherry chicken, and that one has our garlic chicken. Now place your bets down below in the comments. Which one do you think will get hit first, cherry or garlic? We have it on the automatic hook setter, so they will pop off if something grabs and pulls on the line. So nothing more to do rather than just sit back and relax. And if you had cherry, it's the first one to go off, congratulations. That was only 10 minutes of sitting and waiting. Does not look like there's a fish on there though. We'll just wait a few seconds, see if it starts pulling again. That's the problem with using these big chunks of meat and circle hooks. If it's not a catfish that swallows the entire thing, it's only have a little piece. When the hook setter goes off, you might rip it out of the fish's mouth. If that even was a fish, it might also be a terrapin, and just move it away from the little terrapin. And if we have a look at it, you can see there's a tiny little bite mark. That means it's not a catfish that grabbed this. So let's get it back out there. Alright, so I've been getting hits on both of the rods. This one actually popped up. So just going to reel in, check the baits. Maybe need to try and figure out what settings I need to put our little automatic hook setter. I think it's setting the hook too quickly. This time around we have something on the automatic hook setter. We had something, it's no longer there. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, finally we have a fish on our little garlic chicken. Now I'm using pretty big hooks, pretty big baits. I'm not trying to catch all of the channel catfish out there. I'm looking for big channel catfish. Now by the feel of this one, it's not too big, but it feels like a proper fish. Haven't seen him yet. But it is a nice sized one, especially for stocked channel catfish. Because they are stocked, this is about a pretty good size to be eating. In the wild, big fish have all sorts of toxins, whereas these fish, because they are raised in a little pond, there's no toxins and stuff in them. So these are good fish to be eating. So I'm not looking for the smaller ones. These are the sizes I'm looking to catch today. Lots of energy in this guy. Now, I'm not looking to keep any channel catfish. I will be releasing them. So I don't want this guy to get too tired. Let's see if we can get him in the net. There we are. Big catfish. Got him hooked in the corner of the mouth with a little circle hook. Let's quickly get that hook out and have a look at this fish. There we are. Lovely little channel catfish. It's biting down on my fingers. That's a good sign. Means he's still feisty, ready to get back to the water. Right, so that's a 4.7 pound channel catfish. Nice little 2.1 kilogram catfish. So catfish can get quite a lot bigger than this one, but at 4 pounds is a good proper eating size. That's why they stock them like this. Nice little channel catfish landed. A lot of people ask what's the difference between a channel catfish and blue catfish, especially if they're grey like this. Well, the head here, channel catfish always has that bump on the head, and there are no blue catfish in southern Nevada. So when you're catching a silvery catfish, it's most likely a channel catfish. Alright, but let's get this guy back to the water. Alright, little guy, thanks for biting, and off he goes. Now that's why I use chicken, to get the better fish rather than the small catfish. So, good catch. Alright, ladies and gents, there are a couple of things I would like to mention. Now, overall, catfish tend to be nocturnal. They don't like the light. That just means early mornings, late afternoon, and definitely night fishing. It's the best times to find catfish. Midday is not a good time to do so. And that is exactly why I'm out here on an overcast day, hoping that it's not too bright, that we can get some catfish. Now, I did also at the beginning of this video show you the different setups that I'm using. It's the same setup and the different knots and the different line and everything. And there's no result in that. And I only showed you that because I want you to understand that I'm always trying out new things. It's good for us anglers to try different things and find the things that are working. But it's going to take a lot more fishing to figure out what works best. Had I scaled down the line that I was using and used some smaller hooks, smaller baits, I would have gotten a lot more fish out there throughout the entire day. I got quite a lot of hits, quite a lot of nibbles, and a lot of the bait actually has little bite marks out of them, meaning there are a lot of smaller fish out there. And that's a big thing you need to understand when they stock these channel catfish. There are some big ones, but the vast majority of them are going to be small 1 pound catfish. Now, by going for smaller tackle and smaller hooks, you might catch a lot more. For instance, the guy fishing next to me, he caught 10 1 pound catfish in the same time it took me to catch that one 4 pound one. That was the goal for this video, getting on a nice fish for my last fish here. And with that, I want to ask you that you give me a little thumbs up for that fish I did catch. Feel free to ask any questions down below in the comments. If you've not subscribed to the channel yet, consider doing so. Alright, but that's going to be it for this video. I want to thank you for watching. Like always, see you next time.